So we've been at this place in Victoria for about a month now because the house and stuff where we're gonna end up hasn't been ready. It's ready, so then it's kind of like moving twice. Got here and had to unpack enough to do our thing. What do you see, Pistol? Oh, I hate that cow too. So anyway, here in the next day or two, we'll actually be at the other place. Now, I've mentioned before, this is a kick-ass facility here. The other place has no facility. We're gonna build it as we go and have it be just exactly what we need. But for right now, we've got a panel situation and some things like that, which is fine. I'm all about Tom Hagwood's deal of doing everything with panels for a year before you build it, so that way you have it just exactly the way you want it. But anyway, potentially we will have, there's a chance that at some point I'll have to mix a lot of these horses, and a lot of these horses haven't been together before. So what I'm doing is I'm taking ones that have been together and gradually putting other ones in there. So I started with my 2-year-old colts and fillies. They probably haven't been together since they've been weaned. And I turned them in this big arena where there's lots and lots of room, so that if somebody is getting crabby, there's plenty of room for them to get out of the way and save themselves. And then, so I gave them about a half an hour, and there was nothing exciting happened. And so now I'm putting these 2 mature mares of mine in with these baby colts. Now, there's nothing these baby colts can do to bother those mares. But what I don't want to see is these mares going and picking on somebody, which they're not like that. And so then I'll give them another half an hour, and then I'll turn the mature geldings in here and give everybody a chance. Now, my geldings and mares have been together, but they haven't been together with these colts before. So that's why we're just doing this kind of gradually. The huge benefit to this arena is that it hasn't been used in years, so it's full of grass. And so everybody that's been on hay, everybody's way more interested in eating this pretty green grass than in anything else. I would still use the arena even if it wasn't full of grass. Again, just so that way everybody's got, the black colt's got plenty of room to say, okay, Pistol, you're not friendly. I'll come over here. I was just coming over to say howdy, just to meet you. But, this grass has got their attention more than anything else. And so Pistol says, you're not supposed to be over here either. And that's a filly. And Pistol's kind of bossy. That's Pistol and Bill. Bill's pretty much cool with whatever, but Pistol's a little bit protective of Bill and kind of bossy. So I'll give them half an hour to sort things out, whatever it needs to be sorted, and then I'll put the geldings in here and we'll see what happens then. I'm guessing it's going to be more of the same, more of this nothing. These older horses will just tell these colts to, hey, mind your own business. But like I say, I'm doing it in this big space with good ground, so that way there's way less risk of anybody getting hurt. If you do something like this in a little bitty pen, well then if somebody does get crabby, maybe can't get out of the way or ends up in a corner. So like I said, that's what today's about, is getting everybody kind of acclimated. I don't want to have everybody together at the new place, but like I said, because we're in a panel situation, there's the potential for that, for me to have to do that, maybe for a few minutes or a couple of hours or maybe even for a day. And so I'm just going ahead and getting this all sorted out now so that I don't have to do it in a fix. I guess the only other thing I'll I'll say is that a lot of people don't like to run horses in common, mares and geldings especially. And you know what they say, and what I've found true too, is it's not the mare that gets hurt, it's the geldings that get hurt, because they get to fighting each other over a mare that's horsing. Well, that's got a lot to do with, one, with manners, and two, with how good a job somebody did at gelding them. Most veterinarians nowadays, I find, leave them pretty staggy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't have a problem with running horses in common, as long as there's enough room for them to all get used to each other and acclimate. So that's what we're doing here. I guess.
Do you want to say one more thing?
Sure. I guess I'll say one more thing, is that even if you weren't ever, like, you never have it in the stars that you're ever gonna have your horses in common, or you just have two horses and they're the same gender, or whatever, I think whenever the opportunity arises, if you have an opportunity to do something like this, it's a good idea, because you kind of never know. Like, you never know what kind of circumstances you're going to end up under. Going down the road, anything can happen, and this and that. And I've had things like that. Broke down in Hatesville, Mississippi, and the only option I had was to put all my horses together in the same pen. Well, they'd all been together in the same pen, so it wasn't a big deal. But if I'd always kept them apart, then it might have been, you know, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. So this is a good idea if you get the opportunity to do, just so you know what's going to go down, and you may know for sure, no, I cannot put my horse in with something else because he's an alligator. Oh, there's a loose pony. That might cause some wrecks. Somehow or another they flank the pony. Well, crazy kids. Anyway, that was the last thing I wanted to say, is that if you get an opportunity to do this, you ought to, because you just never know when you may have to. Dust in the dark, I'm a dirty rambling. I don't give a damn about you, man. I've been walking alone and I'm lonely dreaming that I can hold the secrets to heaven in my hand. I was losing flight like an angel falling. I can hear the voice, it's the devil calling. I will not be moved like a tree planted by the water. And come on, butthead. I will not be moved. I will not be moved just like waves. So they pretty well segregated each other themselves here because they had plenty of room. This is pain. Tough. It's Pistol. I love you guys. Haven't seen you in like 2 hours. Like I said, they've pretty well segregated themselves. And then we always have this little deal. Tough gets a little staggy over these girls. Whips on his buddy Paint. Now the males will run and play. So those are my 4. They all get along. As long as Paint lets Tough be king. But they're used to getting a chance to run and play when they get together. Tough, he's pretty old, been around the block a bunch, so he kind of savvies what's going on. Supposed to go around here and check these colts out, make sure they're not aliens. He says, come on guys, let's start a game. Everybody run and play. I don't know what he got mad at Blackie there for. Decided he was doing it wrong. So now he's gonna get the rest of the tribe riled up. And this is why I introduced him last. Because I know about his shenanigans. Greg yelled in over there, told those fillies he didn't want them near him. And what Tough's doing here, he's just asserting himself. He's the old chief. He wants to just make sure everybody knows it, so he doesn't waste any time. Doesn't want any of those strangers around his bunch. Here in a little bit, he'll consider all these his bunch. He also doesn't want those colts near Paint, but he doesn't want Paint between him and the mares. And that's kind of the end of the excitement. He decided that corner was the best grass, so he chased everybody off of it. And they're all like, whatever, homie. Cranky old guy. He's kind of like Clint Eastwood from that movie about a car that I don't remember the name of it. Hunterina?
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino. Yeah. Get out of my yard. Even though that wasn't really his yard. He decided it's his yard. He's kind of like Clint Eastwood in a lot of ways. He's like 86 years old and still does push-ups. But that's the deal. We will give them another little bit. We don't have anybody else to integrate. We'll give them another little bit here, and then I will get on with the rest of my day. Oh, there's a big pile of dead grass I can get tangled up in. Looks like a great idea. Another thing I'll say, I've said this before and talked about this before, but it's worth saying again. So before Amy and I had kids, when we were starting all these colts on contracts all the time, you know, we'd be done at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and take a little nap and feed our horses in the evening, and we didn't have anything to do. We didn't have TV or kids to play Monopoly with. Chess, actually, we play a lot of chess. But anyway, she and I'd just pour a cocktail and sit on the fence and just watch horses and just sit there and watch them do what they do and be the way they are, and without any input from what a human's doing. We'd just find a little shade and have our drinks and sit and watch them. And I can promise you I learned more about how horses behave from those days than any other thing I've ever done. Here these fillies and geldings are starting to finally mix a little. And not everybody gets that opportunity, but any chance you do get, to just watch horses be horses. You can learn a lot about them. I still like doing it. Those two fillies say, we don't need to be over here. Pate says, I'm actually not hungry. I'm gonna go meet some people. Tough says, no you're not. I'm gonna run them off. Poor old Paint. He's not allowed to be with them, but he's not allowed to be with anybody else either. So I read a deal the other day, some European study that decided that there wasn't actually a dominant and submissive structure within a horse society. And they said, or no, maybe she was a South American, doesn't make any difference. It said that, oh no, I remember, it wasn't even a study, it was just some lady that watched horses a bunch and decided about something. Anyway, she was writing that in order to even get anybody to offer any aggressive behavior, they had to withhold feed so that there was a shortage of feed. And that horses don't actually have a dominant and submissive social structure, that everything they do, from the direction of the herd to how they stand and where they go, how they interact with each other, she was saying that all of that has to do with the flight instinct of always having the whole herd where they can get away from a predator. Now you all know how I feel about horses and predatory instincts. I think it's mostly BS, but that's just not what I see when I see groups of horses. I see a definite dominant and submissive role where everybody knows their role and where they're supposed to be. And I don't see them constantly setting themselves up to where they can escape. They're not worried about escape. There's not really a whole lot that can get a horse. And for instance, within that deal, that old sorrel gelding of mine there, most of the time he lives with a yearling filly of mine. She's the only thing I haven't put in here. And he lives with her most of the time. And it's funny, she imitates him. She eats the way he eats and goes where he goes and does the things he does. But for the first couple of months that she was with him, he would move her around the pen and put her where he wanted her to stand. And then if she went places that he didn't think she was supposed to go, he'd pin his ears at her and things like that, until now she's lived with him for about 6 months, and so he's got her trained to be where she's supposed to be and be how he wants her to be, and she was kind of tough to catch before she lived with him. Now she meets you at the gate just like he does, and you can probably hear her in the background there nickering for him. But that's what these older horses will teach these younger ones, where to be and how to be. But that's a dominant and submissive trait there. You can't argue against that. I know some Peruvian hippies do, but thank you so much to the Patreon crew. You guys are the reason we're able to do this and do the extra things and really do all the YouTube videos too. We wouldn't be able to make it work without you guys. So thank you so much. And any of the rest of you, you can jump on and watch any of these extra kind of things that we do on Patreon and see what's going on there. So check that out if you can.